Hello guys, and welcome back again to yet another video. This is Grateful Planet and I am your host Favor Shali. As always, I am very much excited to be here with you guys and to share with you what I'm about to share with you today. Today's video is going to be on something very relatable because what I'm about to share is something that most of us, if not all of us, has experienced before. I'm sure at some point in your life you have ever experienced fear or self-doubt. These terms are two different terms and yet very similar because they explain each other. One term can explain the other, so they are used interchangeably. Let's break this down. I'm going to start with fear. So fear shows up differently to different people. For instance, my fears might not be yours and vice versa. However, what causes fear is generally the same because as human beings, when we talk about fear, we talk about something that is harmful to us or something that is going to cause us some sort of pain. It's simple. We don't like pain, and if anything has the potential to harm us, either emotionally or physically or our reputation and ego, we tend to avoid it. Most of the times, we relate fear to something negative. For instance, fear can cripple you and cause you not to go after things that you want or relationships that you want. It can be career, it can be anything, you name it. It can stop you from actually going after what you want. However, what if I told you fear can also be positive? Through negative motivation, a person can use fear to actually go after what they want because they will remember the consequences attached to not doing what you're supposed to do. Because if you sit down and think about, if I don't do this particular thing, I will have to face this consequence. So it will force you to actually do something. The fear of you not achieving that, or the fear of you not, of the consequences, will actually make you go after what you're supposed to go after, whether you like it or not. So in a sense, fear acts like motivation. Again, fear is a very, very broad topic, and there's different types of fear, from irrational fear to logical fear. There's just so many types of fear. However, in this video, I'm going to talk about the fear that stops you from going after what you want or achieving what you need to achieve. And this, most of the time, happens because of self-doubt. So what is self-doubt? Simply put, self-doubt is actually the lack of confidence in yourself and in your abilities. It is a mindset that holds you back from succeeding and believing in yourself. And in simple terms, self-doubt is the lack of faith in yourself, and it stems from fear. So like fear, self-doubt is also a very broad topic, and there's so many things that can cause self-doubt in people. And again, people are different in different aspects, so I'm going to speak personally. For me, what caused self-doubt are things like anxiety, overthinking, perfectionism, and lack of knowledge about a specific thing. Notice that some of those causes that I've just mentioned are things that are imagined, meaning they have not yet happened or they don't happen, but I've just imagined them to happen, like overthinking. With all that said, let's talk about how to overcome fear and self-doubt. The first thing is actually understanding what causes the fear or the self-doubt. And there's this famous quote by Zig Ziglar. He's an author, and it says, the first step in solving any problem is actually recognizing that it exists. This quote is simply beautiful and valuable because it carries a principle that can be used to solve almost any problem in life, not only when dealing with fear and self-doubt. So when you actually understand that you have the fear and the self-doubt in you, you actually identify it and acknowledge it. That's the first step, because after you do that, you will now take a step back and now look at the causes, the things that make you fearful or have this self-doubt, and then you can deal with the root of that problem. So in anything in life, it's always good to actually acknowledge something is happening. That way you can take a step back and look for the solutions to it, because if you keep on denying, you're in denial and thinking that this is not happening, or lying to yourself, that will not solve anything. It's better to just be real with yourself and acknowledging what is actually there. So once you notice that you have the fear and self-doubt in you, you can actually take a step back and look at what is actually causing it, so that you can avoid those triggers. You can avoid those causes, the triggers that make you feel the fear and self-doubt in the first place. Like for me, I had to take a step back and ask myself, why am I experiencing this? What's going on with me? Like, what is triggering me into having so much fear and self-doubt? And actually, I realized what causes all that for me. And after that, I decided to look for ways on how to combat that, or just stop thinking in that direction. Like, I noticed I was overthinking things. I was so much anxious. So I had to cut off some triggers that made me feel this type of way in order to break free from this fear. You have to understand that sometimes you create patterns yourself that causes you to be fearful and to have the self-doubt. So once you notice these things, you notice the root cause, you can actually stop it. And the first step is acknowledging that it exists, not denial. The second thing that I did is avoiding perfectionism. The first thing that you should tell yourself and remind yourself is that there is no such thing as perfection. You will look for it, but you will not find perfection. So some people have the fear of starting or going after what they want is because they are perfectionists. They want things to be, everything to check their boxes before they can start something or go after what they want. Well, that's not the case. You have to understand that people who are not perfect are the ones who are game changers, because they go after what they want, whether they have everything or not. They simply put one step after the other with what they have and go after it. So not to say that you should not do things in a great way or produce things that are of quality. What I'm trying to say is, do your best with what you have. Do it to the best of your ability. And after you have done that, be at peace. Leave it and be at peace. Don't be someone who seeks perfection all the time. I understand perfection is something that affects most of us because we always want something to be, spotless, something to be the best and all that. And if we don't get a specific set of things, we cannot start something, or we have to have every box checked so that we can move forward. I would appeal to you that you should simply do things to the best of your ability, give it your all, quality and everything, and then leave it. Sometimes being a perfectionist will give you self-doubt because you'll be looking around at what people are doing, even people who have more than you, people who are more equipped than you. Learn how to use what you have to get to where you want to get to. For me, that's how I learned. I used faith to face my fears. And how did this happen? There's so many Bible verses that talk about fear in particular. For me, my faith actually gave me that courage and strength to realize, I'm greater than this fear or self-doubt. So there's very many Bible verses that helped me with this. The verses like Isaiah 41:10, which says, "Fear not, do not be dismayed. I am your God and I will be with you wherever you go." Like, just having that knowledge, God is with you everywhere you go. Do not fear. He tells you clearly, you are his child. Do not fear. Like, why should you fear when the creator of the universe tells you do not fear? So some things I just keep on reminding myself in my head and telling me, if my Father who art in heaven tells me this, he calls me courageous. He tells me that I should not fear. He's with me everywhere I go. Who am I to decline that? It's a process. You have to keep on telling yourself, reminding yourself, no fear. God is with you wherever you go. Literally, think about it. Every single place you go, God is right there with you. Just imagining him there with you. Like, such Bible verses, when I remind myself, they give me this confidence, like, I am the child of God. I will not fear. I will go after these things. And so many other Bible verses. I'll just share a bit of the ones that I like, that strengthen me and give me the courage to face all my challenges and move forward victoriously, because I remember I am a child of God. I am the daughter of a king, all-knowing, the source of life. What should I fear? Fear should fear me. Okay, I am being too much, but yeah, I hope you get the gist. So faith really did play a huge part in me facing my fears and being more courageous. And these are some of my favorite Bible verses that actually helped me and strengthened me in my journey to overcoming fear and self-doubt. I hope that you can also use these verses to also remind yourself and tell yourself whenever self-doubt creeps in, whenever fear creeps in, that you are a child of God and you can do this. Like, nothing should scare you. And also the next thing is you should also learn how to trust yourself. How? Reminding yourself of your strengths, reminding yourself of your positive attributes, like what you can do best, like the challenges in the past that you actually went through and came out of them victoriously. Things like that will help you build your confidence and actually face fears and self-doubt. Trusting yourself is very, very important and can actually take you places that you never believed you could. Finally, you remind yourself why you want what you want. If I'm going after something, why am I going after it? There is a reason as to why you want something. If it's a relationship, if it's a career, if it's a project, whatever it is you want, remind yourself, why am I going after what I want? Why am I going after this? Remind yourself, and if you have a big enough why, it will motivate you and give you so much confidence. It's like a natural confidence booster, and it's going to make you overlook the fear and actually go after what you want. So these are the tips that actually worked for me. Let's just break them down once again. Acknowledging that the fear and self-doubt actually exists. Avoiding perfectionism. Using faith to face your fears. Trusting in yourself. And finally, reminding yourself why you want what you want. So these for me have really helped me, and I hope you learned something, a thing or two in this video regarding this. This is like just inspiration to you that you need to go after what you want, because after all, life is short and there is no reason as to why you shouldn't go after what you want. Like I mentioned earlier and in previous videos, even starting this channel for me was a bit scary, but I had to remind myself why I want to start it. I want to speak to people and encourage them and tell them what I feel or what I've learned that would help them. So with all the reasons, the whys, avoiding perfection, etc., like all this stuff coupled up together, it helped me create the channel. And despite the fear and self-doubt that still creeps in my mind from time to time, I still remind myself and still stay and stick to the cause. So what is it that you fear? What is actually stopping you from going after what you want and achieving those goals? Think about it. As always, let me know down below in the comment section if this video helped you in any way, and if you've learned something new, or if you're also facing fears, challenges, self-doubt, and how you're planning on facing them. I would like to hear from you guys, and as always, stay blessed. Cheers.